Is up, everybody? We are here in the DD studio and we are ready to kick off draft night. We are literally sweating bricks over here because we are so nervous.
That's definitely not the phrase.
About the
sweating bullets.
I can say whatever I want. Sweating bullets, whatever. I could have said crap a brick, but that's what I was thinking, but I changed it on the fly. All right, a couple big storylines already this afternoon. We're going to get into it right now, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at Twitter as we go and kind of make sure we're monitoring any trades that are happening. We're going to just do a basic Q&A. We're going to just hang out for a little bit, just do some pre-draft I guess fidgeting and waiting until we decide who Indy's going to pick. So I'm telling you, like, we are extremely nervous right now. Like I've had anxiety about it all day. So it's going to be interesting. All right, let's get into things. So first of all, Lamar Jackson got his contract. I told you. I've been telling Nathan for I don't know how long.
Why me specifically? He literally wrote a goodbye letter to the Ravens. He thought he was going to.
No, he didn't.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying that, but
okay.
I mean, I told you I did admit that I thought he was going to leave the Ravens for some time.
Yep.
However, he's obviously the highest paid player in the NFL now, the highest paid player in NFL history, I think, technically. And so he's a 5-year, $260 million contracts, $5 million more than Jalen Hurts, which is pretty.
How much was guaranteed?
That's actually insane.
I don't think they haven't come out with the guarantee money
okay.
yet. Yeah. So
nice.
But Lamar gets paid, and now the buy Lamar window is kind of slammed shut. I mean, there was a period there, I think, where, and I don't know if you guys made any Lamar Jackson deals like during this time, but there was a period where he was just being severely undervalued because of his contract flux. And, you know, Kyler Murray for a minute there had more contract security than Lamar Jackson is, although most people would have preferred Lamar Jackson over Kyler Murray. So a little bit interesting there. But now you can't really buy Lamar, and his value is going to continue to stay in the top, round of startup drafts, and that's where it should be.
Yep.
So
apparently it's $185 million guaranteed.
Oh, is it really?
Nice.
Yeah,
so
according to our source.
Thank you, a YouTube user. That is
$10 million over what Hurts got guaranteed.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, they were never going to do a fully guaranteed deal, and you kind of,
and he didn't want a fully guaranteed deal.
Yeah, I don't think he did either.
He just wanted more than Deshaun.
Well,
that was the rumor, at least.
Wow, that's something. The name of the intro tune, I don't know. I got that countdown off of a media website, and I have no clue what it is. So it's probably something super generic. All right, I hope the Bills walk out of tonight with D-Hop and Jordan Addison. You guys think that could happen? Absolutely, it could. D-Hop is obviously somebody that's going to be traded, and I think we all got sleeper alerts on our phones earlier that DeAndre Hopkins potentially could have been going to the Titans in a trade for the 3rd pick and then sending back the 11th pick. However, I think Ian Rappaport came out and said that actually that DeAndre Hopkins is not in those discussions. He's not going to be moved. So yes, though, I do think the Bills could be a landing spot for DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, they're always looking to bolster that receiving room. Their wide receiver 2 right now is Gabe Davis, who, as Simon knows very well, is extremely mid. And you know what? They've got that late first-round pick. They could easily get Jordan Addison there. I'm not sure Jordan Addison makes it to them, though. I don't know where you guys are thinking Jordan Addison will go, but I'm starting to think he goes more top 20-ish than anything.
And the teens, probably.
Well, as the genius Daniel Jeremiah says in his mock drafts, he has QJ going to the Bills. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's certainly mock drafts out there that have Jordan Addison and QJ making it that far. It'll be interesting to see who the Bills pick up. And I hope they at least get someone, because as we saw last year in the playoffs, what they have isn't really going to cut it.
All right, Matthew Rayburn says, Young, Anderson, someone coming up for A-Rich, and then Stroud to Indy. Please let that happen. That's exactly what I want. I just want CJ Stroud.
That's what I'm saying.
You guys all know that. Rybread says DeAndre Hopkins is a Raven by midday Saturday. You heard it here first. Yeah, obviously. Rybread, thanks for watching, buddy. He's one of us. He's our non-YouTube DD guy, and he's a freaking baller. He showed us his model last night on one of our Discord spaces, and it is so cool. Like, legit.
Nice.
Yeah, so Pac-Man Jones on Pat McAfee apparently has sources that say, and he would know, I mean, he would play in the NFL, but that he'll be a Raven. Do you like DeAndre Hopkins with the Ravens? I mean, do you think he's going to produce like he did on the Cardinals?
I think from an NFL perspective, you have to love it. Absolutely love it. But I think you're lying to yourself if you think it's as good of a situation as it was in Arizona with the passing volume that Kyler Murray had. I think he takes a hit if he goes there from a fantasy perspective.
Yep. I mean, I think you even just look at this might be a bad take, but look at what Hollywood Brown did in Arizona versus what he did in Baltimore.
Yep.
You saw an absolutely massive uptick in production there. So, I mean, it's DeAndre Hopkins. He's genuinely one of the best wide receivers in the league. So he can always transcend, but I would expect him to not be quite as dominant.
Yeah, and his ceiling could be the same. I would expect the ceiling to be the same because Hollywood showed, some flashes here and there in Baltimore, but again, it just became more consistent. It's more about the consistency in the passing volume in Arizona. Whereas, I mean, you could have 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns going around in Baltimore between Lamar and the running backs. And then, I mean, who knows what Odell's going to do there? We really have no idea. So not super excited about that landing.
And I was going to say that I'll tell you what I'm not worried about in Baltimore, especially if D-Hop gets dealt there, which I do expect him to based on what I'm hearing from my sources that I know all around the league, definitely not just watching Pat McAfee show.
Yeah. Joe is a really valuable source.
That is very true. I'm not really worried about Odell Beckham. Like, I don't think, I honestly, I'm not sure how much I loved the contract that they gave him. It seemed like a lot of money for somebody who I think is going to struggle to stay on the field, honestly. I mean, in the last couple times we've seen Odell Beckham, like, actually in full-fledged uniform, like, he's had some injury issues, and he's obviously not the youngest guy. He's not spring chicken by any means. So is Odell Beckham actually going to be able to stay on the field? Who knows? I mean, that's $18 million is a pretty good investment for somebody that has had issues with that. And, I absolutely know what Odell Beckham is capable of, and I know he's, one of the better receivers of the past decade. However, there are question marks there, and I don't think that's going to hinder DeAndre Hopkins' potential production.
No.
Nor Mark Andrews. Actually.
And we're talking about D-Hop like he's already there, but I do think it's worth noting, without him being there, Odell's still the best receiver Lamar has been throwing to. Even is he 30? He's still the best receiver Lamar's had on his team.
D-Hop? I think he's
Odell.
Odell. Oh, Odell.
Odell is, I think
he's 31.
31, yeah.
He might, yeah.
Yeah.
But
he will be 31 going into next season.
Worst case scenario, this is probably already the best receiver room Lamar's had. He has he'll have Odell. He still has Mark Andrews, whoever they pick up tonight, and I expect him to get someone. And you still have Rashad Bateman. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, let's catch up on some YouTube comments here. Make sure you drop your questions, your comments into the YouTube comments, and we'll put them up on the screen. We're talking about everything right now. We're trying to pass time before the draft. We obviously are also anxious for that, and we're glad you joined us. Make sure you like and subscribe. It says that on our little ticker down there. How do you like that? I came up with that little thing on StreamYard. It actually wasn't hard. I just figured it out finally. All right.
You're so cool, dude.
I know. All right, Matthew says, Baltimore and New England are my least favorite wide receiver destinations, and they're likely both to take one. Ugh. Yeah, I think New England especially is probably going to take one here. It would be a shame if Jackson Smith and Jigba ended up there.
Gosh.
That would just be like pure pain. But I think he obviously goes earlier than that. So
I think Addison would transcend if he went there.
You think
I
so?
think he would do well.
I think Addison is that good. I just want to see Addison on the Chargers so bad. So bad.
I think he does fine in New England.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think we're always down on anyone who lands in New England, and honestly, we have something to look forward to there. They have a new offensive coordinator. And Mac Jones he's a serviceable QB for fantasy. We saw Jacoby Myers do pretty decently occasionally last year. And if you get an actual elite talent in there, like let's say it is JSN, I think he could end up being decent. And that's when, if everyone else goes low on him, you buy that talent over the landing spot.
Yeah, 100%. All right, AK Mufasa says he's finally catching his first DD Live. What's good? What is up, man? We are so glad you joined us today. All right, Gavin Ferguson says, make sure you remind anyone and everyone that said Lamar needs an agent that he's the highest paid football player of all time and saved almost $8 million in agent fees. Yeah, for a minute there, while it was a longer process, while there was, like Lamar said, a lot of he said, she said, in the end, Lamar looks pretty dang good. And you're right, he saved himself quite the commission for an agent. So I'm glad he got the deal done, man. I think Baltimore is a great fit for him. I think Coach Harbaugh is good for him. And ultimately, that's where I thought he'd be the whole time, even though Nathan tried to tell me that he was going to get traded, and Nathan was wrong, and I was right about that. So
Nathan was wrong.
Yeah. About that, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, I absolutely, with the agent thing, that's something that everybody has to kind of keep in mind. Avery has very reliable sources. Yeah, you know it. Caps, you're probably my most reliable source, actually. Rybread's got a spicy take for us. 5 first-round QBs taken. Wow. I think that's going to happen. Levis goes before Stroud, and Hooker goes before A-Rich. Wow,
Oh,
A-Rich falls to
whoa,
the top
that
15.
part's spicy. Levis
That
over
is
Stroud, I
super
can see.
spicy.
That
Levis
would
over
be
Stroud, I can
insane.
see.
I'd be like jumping up and down and giggling if that happened.
Spicy. Yeah, that's right. Spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Let us know what you think in the comments. How many QBs do you think are going to get taken tonight? And in what order? I want to know. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. I think it could go a whole. I just want Stroud on the Colts. That's all I want. Do you know that? Do you know that I like CJ Stroud and I want him on the Colts? Do you?
I mean, I'm glad you like reinforced that to me because I wasn't exactly sure.
Yeah.
But now I know. Now I know.
Absolutely. All right. Gavin says he thinks 3 QBs go and A-Rich gets pushed to the second. Whoa. Because the NFL drafted Hurts at 53 and Lamar at 32.
Interesting.
And A-Rich is the worst passer than those two were. Yeah, and so what we've kind of talked about throughout the day as we've just been having extreme anxiety about the draft is the fact that the way that teams are going to approach evaluating and taking QBs in the NFL draft has kind of shifted, and it will continue to shift because, you know, you've seen the scheme change over the last few years, how important quarterbacks are to the modern day NFL. I think that when you have guys like Will Levis, when you have guys like Anthony Richardson, and now that you've seen it proven with guys like Lamar and Jalen Hurts, you have these guys with high upside. I think teams are going to be more willing to gamble on them early, and I think they're going to slide less than they have in the past. Now, obviously, you can go ahead and give your side of this. You know, when your point to all of this is there's, you know, a whole other side of the ball, and that people are forgetting about that. And I just think while that is absolutely true, and there are some phenomenal defensive players in this class, I think teams are so desperate for a quarterback, and teams know like how valuable a quarterback is, especially in today's game, that they're going to do whatever it takes to try to hit on quarterbacks, even if that means a dart throw at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the game is ever changing, so obviously picks are going to look different in the draft. We saw running backs go in the first round way more often in the past than they do now, and it's incredibly rare to see them go any higher than 20. And I think with the quarterback position specifically, could we see a QB class where they go 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutively in the future? Absolutely. There's totally a chance at some point. Why would you pick this year as the year that happens? It's not some especially unique class. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of you know, former NFL GMs and people in the league are even saying that, I mean, past Bryce Young, there's a significant tier gap. And I personally think from an NFL perspective, I significantly prefer Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. That doesn't mean I think CJ Stroud is bad, but I think if you're at 2 and 3 and you are the Houston Texans, who are not very close to contending or even making the playoffs anytime soon and have a ton of holes to fill on the defensive side, why would you not bite on one of the truly elite, potentially generational talent in Jalen Carter, or go for a guy like Witherspoon, who as a prospect really is as good, if not better, than Sauce Gardner?
I don't think he's better than
Arizona.
No, sorry.
No, I'm saying as a prospect.
I think Sauce was a better prospect.
Didn't Sauce? What did Sauce go? Did he go fifth?
Right? Yeah.
He went fifth.
I mean, he's projected to go top 10, but I just think Sauce is better.
Yeah, well, duh, because he's proven it.
No, yeah,
that's fair. No, Nathan's making a fair
I'm
point.
saying as a prospect, he is just as good as Sauce going.
Still,
into the NFL.
I don't think Witherspoon's going over Will Anderson though. I don't think you didn't even say Will Anderson. I think Will Anderson's probably the second to go.
Yeah, well, I was getting there.
The favorite to go second.
Yeah, no, there are like 3 or 4 guys on the defensive side of the ball that are absolutely worthy of going top 5.
Yeah,
there are.
Yeah.
And at the QB position, I mean, look, I just, it doesn't make sense for me personally for Houston and obviously Arizona. If they stay at 3, they're not going to draft a QB. They'll go defense. And if they find a guy that's worth it to stay at 3, then they will. And I know we've heard all these whispers about the Titans potentially trading up to 3. What do you guys think about that?
I think that there will be a trade to 3. I think Arizona will move down. I think the most logical trade for Arizona to make is with the Colts to move down 1 pick and get a pretty good return as well. They're going to get their choice of defensive player because the Colts are trading up to get a quarterback, and then the Colts get CJ Stroud, which is that's everything I want in my life. You're going to have my live reaction video from tonight, and if we don't get Stroud, I think I'm going to cry. But I think it makes the most sense. Obviously, the Titans are trying to get up there, but the jump from 3 to 11 is going to require a lot more capital, especially if somebody like DeAndre Hopkins were involved, which it's been now reported that it isn't. However, that's a big jump. They'd have to give up a lot more. And then you're also having the Cardinals jump down. They're not going to have their choice of an elite defensive player like you do if you're just going to 4. So do you think the Titans are jumping up tonight? Like I know they're having conversations, but I think the Titans are just going to tighten. And honestly, I don't even know why they have a franchise. So
wow. I think if I'm the Titans, I'm definitely looking to jump up because otherwise you're looking at almost a year of nothing. Like if you're in the NFL and you're not either competing for the Super Bowl or competing for the number 1 overall draft pick, what are you doing? And the Titans right now are just somewhere stuck in the middle with Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis or whoever's at QB. They're just stuck in the middle. So if they're not moving up here, you're just kind of viewing this next year as a waste. Like they're legitimately going to have to tank because they do have talent on that roster. They have a really good coach who's not just going to let them go, 2-15 and get that number 1 overall pick. So if I am the Titans, I'm looking to move up and get a QB that can propel us back into reasonable contention in the playoffs.
If they do move, okay, so let's go through these scenarios. The Titans don't trade up. Let's say they don't go to 3. Then my prediction is the Colts get the second QB off the board. I think if they don't trade up, that's what's going to happen, and they get their choice of Stroud, Levis, AR. If they do trade up, I think Tennessee takes Anthony Richardson. I personally think that with them taking a shot on Malik Willis in the 3rd round last year, that kind of showed what they're interested in at the QB position, looking towards the future. And Anthony Richardson is just, he's clearly a better prospect and with better tools. He's more athletically gifted, and he actually has made basic NFL reads in college, unlike Malik Willis. I think that's a very possible landing spot. If they don't trade up, I think the Titans, personally, I think they should look at drafting Hendon Hooker, either trading up at the back end of the 1st or trading up or sitting at the 2nd if Hendon Hooker falls. And he's got that ACL tear. He may not be ready week 1, but they're stuck with Ryan Tannehill for 1 more year. So, I don't think they're going to be able to get him off their hands.
No, I think they're going to keep him.
Right. So if they're keeping Tannehill, that's a perfect situation for Hendon Hooker to be slowly, put in there. And look what they did with Tannehill. I think Hendon Hooker could be better than Tannehill in the NFL, and they made it to the AFC Championship game with Tannehill. It's not like they're a team that's known for building at the QB position. Exactly. Yeah, but that's all right. Kind of my point.
Let's move off of quarterback and go to some other positions now. There was one I wanted to put up here. Here we go. The Booty Warrior. Now I want to do this one. I hope the Packers don't get a wide receiver. I live in Wisconsin. I can't stand the Packers or their fans. I love to see them upset. You guys think the Packers draft JSN at 13 tonight? That would be my pick right now. That would be JSN's my pick right now to go at 13.
Well,
I think the Packers trade up to 8 with the Falcons and get JSN there.
Oh, I don't know.
Interesting, because you think the Falcons might take Bijan if they're at 13.
Because I think Bijan could fall to them.
So you think Bijan?
I think it would be mutually beneficial because there are a couple teams in front of Green Bay that could actually take JSN ahead of them.
I don't know. I think this question kind of goes in really well with another question who says, who do you guys think takes the first tight end and how many go in round 1? I could still see the Packers taking a tight end where they are now. They have Kincaid, who people say is, he obviously has incredible athleticism. His workouts are really good. And then Michael Mayer, too, is also someone rumored to go in the mid-first round. I could still see the Packers kind of sitting there and grabbing their tight end instead of taking JSN.
But it's such a deep class. Why don't they just wait until the 2nd and get the best wide receiver off the board and a really good tight end on top of that?
It's just presumption.
Yeah, and so the other team that I'm looking at that really needs a tight end, which would be hilarious, is the Lions at 18. And I think it would be super funny if the Lions took a tight end because their fans would go bananas, and that would just be hilarious. So after tonight. This is from Emmanuel. After tonight, who has the best chance of replacing Bijan Robinson as the 101 in Superflex rookie drafts, aside from AR getting drafted in the top 5? Love the channel, fellas. Thanks, man.
Can I take this one?
Yeah, go for it.
Aside from AR getting top 5 draft capital, I don't think there's any way Bijan moves out of the 101. We've already looked at this situation for months, saying Bryce Young or Stroud being the first pick off the board in the NFL draft and still taking Bijan Robinson as the number 1. I think unless Anthony Richardson is one of those top 5 picks, then there's no reason to move him down. Even then, I think I would still lean towards taking Bijan because he's going to be safe.
But who has the best chance, even though it's not likely?
I'm going to honestly probably Will Levis.
I think it would. My answer for that would be
because he has rushing upside.
Yeah.
My answer for that is if in some world Jahmyr Gibbs got way better draft capital than Bijan, then people would start freaking out over Jahmyr Gibbs because I don't think people. JSN's already projected super high. The quarterback's already projected super high. Jahmyr Gibbs is somebody who's projected late first, early second. If Jahmyr Gibbs were to somehow jump up and get super early first round draft capital for some reason, that would freak people out.
Yeah, so, and we've seen people.
I just don't think anybody. I just don't think anybody else is going to move. But again, he's right. Bijan Robinson is probably going to get top 10 or just outside the top 10 draft capital, and that's going to keep him at the 101 in Dynasty drafts. And honestly, Probably should. I mean, Bijan's going to be that good, and in a Superflex league, you can't fault somebody for taking a quarterback there. But that's a great question. I like that question. All right, we've got some other comments here. Where are the reports that A-Rich is attached to any team at all? I think I honestly haven't heard that, so I don't know to answer your question. Fantasy Sports Rookie says, "What's up, guys? What's up, man?" All right, how many or who do you guys think? Oh, we already did that one. Sorry. This one says, I hope the Packers take a wide receiver with the pick they got from the Rodgers trade just to stick it to him. I think they will. I think they're going to take JSN. All right. Yep. Kyle Clark. What's up, Kyle? It might be this year mostly because QB play last year was really poor. Add in that last year's QB class was worse in several years, and you have fewer teams than normal who are content. That's exactly he's talking about what you said.
4 QBs.
I totally agree with you, Kyle. I think that's where my thoughts are. All right, tell me your thoughts on this. If the Colts are on the clock and the draft went this way, Young, Stroud, Levis.
So I think if
they're all available.
No. He's saying
if they went
first
1, 2,
3
3,
picks
Jalen Carter or Witherspoon.
No, I would take Will Anderson. I'd take Will Anderson there.
I'd be fine with Will Anderson too if they wanted to.
I would say Will Anderson or Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter's
and the reason why
insane.
I don't think they would draft Jalen Carter though, because they're locker rooms.
Yeah, I know.
I think the Colts are
less
stupid
realistic.
with that. But I think the reason you don't take Anthony Richardson is just like what Nathan was saying 5 minutes ago. You don't want to take the 4th best at a position. Go ahead and take the elite player somewhere else instead of taking the leftovers with Anthony Richardson. And not saying that he is the worst, but if that is how it were to fall, then he is the 4th best out of those players. Right. Let the draft capital decide who's best,
right?
And don't get stuck on the pre-draft hype.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I don't like Swift, therefore I don't like Gibbs as a day 1 pick. 5'9", 200 has been proven, has it? 5'9", 200. And Kamara was what, 215?
Yeah.
So technically, no. I mean, we'll see, but we'll see. I don't know the last time somebody came out with this extensive of a route tree as a running back.
Yeah,
like this.
Gibbs is a unicorn.
Yeah, he's kind of interesting. Gibbs is very unique. So while we're very tentative about small running backs, okay? More so us, you're a little bit more lenient with that, but like we just do not get the Devon A-Chain thing. The James Cook thing, that was all of us. We were all like, are you kidding me with this? And so we are very conservative about that. And we love Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I cannot get enough of his tape. I think he's very good. And I'm really, really hoping, and I think he does get drafted tonight, which will be huge. I mean, to get 2 running backs in the first round this year is just a lot of fun for Dynasty players. But what you got?
Oh, on the small running backs?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm a little bit more skeptical of Jahmyr Gibbs than Avery is. I mean, I think Avery's really bought into the tape there.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. He's absolutely put some really good stuff out there on tape. But when I'm talking using in Dynasty a top 6 pick on a running back that's undersized, undersized, I just lean towards the wide receivers. We have obviously seen running backs We've obviously seen running backs have a really hard time maintaining value, especially over these last 2 or 3 years. So I just typically lean with the safer assets.
Yeah, no, I think the earliest I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs as things sit right now until everything changes in an hour is 106.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
I'm thrilled to get him at the 107. Like that's where I'm like, there's not a ton of risk here. This is the back end of the first round where things can go kind of weird sometimes, and I'm getting a guy that got first round draft capital. I mean, I think there's going to be opportunities later in dynasty rookie drafts where you're getting Jahmyr Gibbs in the later round of the first round, in the later part of the first round. And honestly, you're really decreasing your risk there, and you're taking a shot on somebody who has potential to be a really good fantasy scorer.
Yeah, and the thing with Gibbs is it's kind of like, I'm not saying he's nowhere near CMC, but he's one of those guys that you could reasonably see having an incredible year in his prime and getting like 2,000 yards from scrimmage, combining his rushing and receiving, because he does have that skill set. And you see it on tape all the time at Alabama, where he'll have like 50 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving in a game. And that is, you don't really get that anywhere else, especially in this draft class. So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and he also said keep that first round tight end talk away from my Cowboys. They're a team that I could see taking them, but my prediction is that they roll with Ferguson. Fantasy Sports Rookie said shout out Center Grove. Yeah, that's where I live. I didn't go to school there, but I'll take the shout out because that's where I live. All right, Cap says Bijan at 8 to Atlanta would make me bust for fantasy purposes. Nice. As a Carolina fan, I'd absolutely despise facing him twice a year. I'd love him in Atlanta. I think it would be hilarious for him to replace Tyler Algier. And honestly, I think that's absolutely possible. If I had to pencil the eye, make a prediction right now of where Bijan Robinson was going to go tonight, I think it would be Atlanta. Do you like the fit in Atlanta in Arthur Smith's offense? And is this just more opportunity for him not to give the ball to Kyle Pitts?
I don't know how you could dislike the situation in Atlanta if Bijan goes there. I mean, Arthur Smith is a very, very good run game coach. And I think with it, first thing I'd do is laugh because Tyler Algier is a good running back. But again, classic running back with no draft capital who has really good traits. But if you can replace him with Bijan Robinson, you're absolutely going to do that with a running back that has a good draft capital. I think what does that look like for Kyle Pitts and Drake London and the passing game? I think that means you're going to have to wait another year for really elite production from either of those two because they don't have a freaking quarterback right now. So they're probably going to lean on the run game a lot more. There's going to be very limited target share going on or target volume going on in Atlanta again. I mean, I would assume that Taylor Heineke right now is going to be the starting quarterback. I know some people are Desmond Ridder truthers. He's a 3rd-round quarterback. Come on, guys. I mean, come on. Long term, again, but we'll see what it looks like. None of what happens at the QB position long term is going to impact Bijan Robinson. If anything, it'll just be positive for him in the passing game. But even with last year, I mean, even with a bad QB right now, he'll probably just get more dump offs. Yeah. So it's a great fantasy situation for him.
Yeah.
I think from an NFL perspective, I don't think it's the best move that Atlanta could make. I think that's like a luxury pick that they can't really afford right now. I think it would be a poor draft pick on their part, but that doesn't mean.
But I mean, it's Atlanta, so what do you expect?
And we also said the same thing about the Jets last year. We were like, what are they doing picking an elite running back? And look how it changed their team. I think the general perception towards elite running backs is kind of shifting back.
But they also got him in the 2nd and not 10.
That's a good
Sauce
point.
And Garrett Wilson.
That draft was crazy.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
But I really do think 2 of the funniest and 2 of my favorite landing spots for Bijan would have been the Falcons or the Texans.
Yes, if he goes to the Texans, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Either way, replacing Dameon Pierce or Tyler Algier, which I would think is quite funny. So
this is my redemption night for all the times I got trashed in our league.
Our redemption night. Tony Pollard, dude. Oh my gosh,
Nathan, my pennant is crooked. You need to fix that.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
All right. Does your opinion change on Gibbs, Johnson, or Addison if any of them went to the Bills or Chiefs in the first? Not a ton. I'm answering for you guys. I'm assuming that's your answer too. We try not to make landing spot judgments. So we do that. We've done that with the Chiefs too many times. And honestly, I think we did it with the Bills with James Cook. And I think we did it with the Bills with Gabe Davis. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I will say, you had QJ, Addison, and JSN all there. It doesn't matter which one goes where. I'm still going to take them JSN. And then with QJ versus Addison, that right there, those guys that are still in the same tier, that's where I would let a landing spot start to differentiate between who I draft first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to stick with who I liked pre-draft. So
he also said in his next comment, he said, do you take Johnson, Gibbs, or Addison over JSN if they land with the Bills or Chiefs at the end of the first? No, JSN's a clear wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Said you guys need to get to the draft next year. Yeah, we do. We really need to get there. We
looked at it this year, but we wanted to dedicate ourselves.
We wanted to stay here in cold Indiana and bring you live.
We're doing like however many offensive players go on you or go in the first round today. We're gonna pump out a bunch of videos tonight.
All right, keep dropping your comments, keep dropping your questions. We're talking about everything T-1 hour and 2 minutes until Carolina's on the clock. It's gonna be awesome. Make sure you like this live stream and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't.
Most viewers ever right now too. We have 59 watching. We only have 18 likes. So
get them up.
Sure
Let's go.
You guys are dropping that like if you haven't already. Let's try to get that like rate to 100%.
All right, Parker Dugan. If Jason goes to the Packers, I'll cry. The dude, the 103 is a Packers fan. It's funny dealing with people in leagues that are fans of certain teams. We have a dude that's in a ton of our leagues that's just a diehard Bears fan, and so like, the joke is we just trade. We can trade DJ Moore and Justin Fields and like all the mid players to him and not Justin Fields. I wasn't talking about Justin Fields, but all right. I think T-Law is about to go on a Brady-esque run with his division. Feels like a lot of things have to break right for the Texans, Titans, and Colts to contend. I don't like that comment at all, actually, Gavin. I think the Colts are going to be fine.
Oh my!
I think they're gonna do well with contending with T-Law. I just don't want to face reality, is the honest truth. And honestly, you're right. Trevor Lawrence is probably going to kill us forever, and it's just a shame.
I think
Yeah,
I
maybe we'll
absolutely
die and the
agree.
Colts will win another Super Bowl.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I think last year
I was 6.
The three of us kind of had an ongoing debate about whether Doug Peterson was a good coach or not. And obviously,
yeah.
getting the Jaguars to the playoffs
Yep.
and that game against the Chargers, he kind of proved that he is. And Trevor Lawrence has the ability to really just dominate the AFC South. And we were just talking earlier today about like how sad it is for us as Colts fans to have to face Trevor Lawrence twice a year. And then between the Texans and Titans both being rumored to be picking another top QB this year, it's looking rough for the AFC South. But I really do think the Jaguars kind of have a chokehold on the division right now.
Yeah, Lawrence's run was like it was so much fun to watch. What did they start 4-6? I think they started the season 4-6, and
I don't know.
That run made the playoffs. You were ready to take your L on Doug P. I was ready to take the dub, and then it just flip flopped on my head. And oh my gosh!
All right, Rybread says Johnson ain't going in the first. I agree with that. Do you guys agree with that?
I think he's taken at the end of the first. I think we just talked about this in one of our videos the other day. He kind of has a skill set and even a build that's not very common in this year's draft class among wide receivers. He's 6'3", 208, I believe. And he has 4.5 speed at that size. I mean, he's the same speed as Jordan Addison, but quite a bit bigger. And I really do think he has a valuable skill set, especially for those contending teams picking at the end of the first round, like everyone keeps mentioning the Bills and the Chiefs. So
yeah,
again, though, I just have this gut feeling that I don't think a contending team at the end of the first is going to want to spend their draft pick on Quentin Johnson, who is going to be a bit more of a project wide receiver. I think they're going to go for one of those slot guys like Addison, maybe even if Zay Flowers makes it to the 20s. I really like those picks. Josh Downs could go there because I think he's more NFL ready than Quentin Johnson is right now. I think QJ not going in the first is absolutely reasonable because the teams that are going to want him are going to be in the early part of the round. So if he'd go early second, I think is my prediction if he ends up falling. Otherwise, he's probably going in the teens, which wouldn't really surprise me either.
All right. More heat, less heat than the previous take. Same number of wide receivers and tight ends drafted in the first round, 3. I think that's what we have too. I think Nathan and I've said 3 tight ends for weeks
3.
now.
I'll go 2. And I'm going to go 2 tight ends and 4 wide receivers.
I'll go 3 and 3. What are you doing?
Are you saying Luke Musgrave being in the first?
My 3. So you could do it a couple different, because Laporta could honestly go in the first 2. But my 3 are Kincaid, Mayer, and Musgrave.
Those would be my 3 if I were to say 3 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards 2 tight ends. And I don't know. I'll still stick with the 3 wide receivers. I do think there's a couple that could slip in at the end, like we are just talking about Quentin Johnson, Josh Downs.
Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt, guys.
All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
That he could slip in as well. Gavin says, how many wide receivers you got going in the first round? We obviously just said that. I think it's JSN, and the second wide receiver doesn't go till the second round. I think Addison and Zay Flowers are both locks to get first round capital tonight. I don't think Quentin Johnson's a lock, but those guys both got green room invites. So the vibe around the league is that they're going to be first round picks. I think by the end of the night, I think that's the where I personally have them going in as well. I have Addison first, and then I have Zay Flowers second. So yeah, I think we're kind of on the same.
JSN. After JSN.
No, so he's saying JSN penciled in, and then Addison and Flowers also going in the first round.
So who are you taking at the 104 and a 12-team Superflex if it goes Bijan, Bryce, and JSN? Assuming Anthony Richardson gets top draft capital, I'm going to take Anthony Richardson there. However, again, this could completely change in an hour. Like in an hour, we could be sitting here and Anthony Richardson could have fallen out of the top 10, and we're like, oh crap, I guess it would be 2 hours from now. But it's just TBD. As it sits right now, at 7:03. For the draft, I'll take Anthony Richardson at the 104 in a Superflex rookie draft.
Yeah.
If not, take CJ Stroud.
Are you guys wanting tipping draft info out of the chat? We won't be live during the draft. We're gonna go off the air 5 or 10 minutes before the draft, and we're gonna be releasing videos all night, our live reaction videos as normal videos, so we won't be live. So that doesn't happen because we want to experience it in real time, especially with our Colts up there.
It will be real time reactions though, so you'll be getting them 5 minutes after we recorded them.
Yeah, we should do team audits. Yeah, we do need to do a video like that soon, where we go through some teams and review that and stuff like that. Gavin says he likes Hyatt as the 3rd wide receiver off the board this year, behind Addison and JSN. 3rd fastest 40 this year. I would not be surprised if this happened at all.
Neither would I. Again, if you're going to go by gut feeling, I have a gut feeling that Hyatt's going to go late first, probably 20 plus. Or past the 20th pick, and honestly, he's gotten a lot of hate in dynasty circles, a lot because of his skill set, which I understand that's merited. He is more of a field stretcher, we think, but he could be more versatile than we're giving him credit for. And if he gets paired with an elite offense that is in need of a wide receiver, he could showcase that and be a real good value in dynasty rookie drafts.
You still don't
real
like Hyatt a
soon.
ton, do you?
I think it's really hard to judge Hyatt with that offense in Tennessee. I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard to judge any of the players who are playing in the offense, even Hendon Hooker, Cedric Tillman, and especially Jalen Hyatt. He had those few blow up games, and then he had a few games where he just disappeared. And a lot of the schemes he was running was just, all right, get out there and run straight. We'll throw the ball to you. And I'm not saying he's not capable of doing more, and obviously he has the speed, but I'm going to let the NFL draft capital decide on this one.
Yeah, and if he goes as high as we think he could, then we're going to have to dive back into his film and really see what we're going to have to refine our take for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all got any hot takes on some surprise players that go in the first round? Mine is going to be Luke Musgrave. I already mentioned that, but he's not really a mock to go in the first round. He's a tight end prospect. He spent a lot of the year injured. I think he's got a lot of qualities in a tight end that NFLs are looking for. He's probably NFL teams are looking for. He's probably my sleeper pick to go in the first round.
My hot take is that Stroud falls to 4.
That's not what the question was. Some surprise players that go in the first round.
Oh, so
gosh.
Wow.
Dynasty domain, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to answer it?
No, I'll answer. Surprise. I mean, Simon and I have been known lovers of Marvin Mims.
Oh.
But I personally look in a vacuum. And from a prospect perspective, and from what I've seen on film, I personally prefer Marvin Mims over Josh Downs. I could be so off and so wrong about that.
You are.
But look, Marvin Mims could go late first. He could.
And didn't he have the second fastest wide receiver 40 this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how's that guy from the Giants doing? I can't remember his name.
John Ross.
Yeah. How's he doing? How's he doing, Simon? How's John Ross?
He has a few blow-up games every few years.
Yeah. Who's your hot take surprise player that could go in the first tonight?
You know what?
Let's do dynasty players. Let's try to do dynasty players because this is a dynasty fantasy football channel. Dynasty domain. Like and subscribe.
I think there might be a team out there that's really in love with Zach Charbonnet.
I almost went Sharps.
Like I get there aren't many running backs going in the first round at all, and you compare the prospect that Charbonnet is this year to Najee like 2 years ago, and you're like, why would he go in the late first round? But I think he offers a workhorse role, which a team at the end of the first might like. And so if we're talking a surprise player, I think he's someone who has reasonable odds, especially compared to the other guys you're left with picking. So
yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
All right, Rybread chiming in here. Jason, Addison, Zay for wide receivers, Mayer, Kincaid, and Washington for Titans. I don't see it with Washington, but that's just me.
Oh no, that's actually a really
Washington.
good pick. Washington for fantasy, not the asset you're necessarily looking at, but when it comes to blocking and just overall strength and the way he can be utilized in an offense, I think that's
I just don't see him going in the first, but Ryan Brett is probably going to know more about that than I do.
Imagine Atlanta getting Darnell Washington to pair with Pitts.
Which teams do you think
in the run game?
Which teams do you think trade back into the first? I'm assuming into the late first. You mean? Looking at the top of the board. Actually, these would probably be the middle guys. I think the top 9 or 10. I think there's a comment that says the Eagles are looking to move up, but the Titans are somebody that if they don't get who they want, I think they'd move back. I think they're going to end up moving up or getting who they want. However, maybe I don't know. Who do you guys think? I don't see a ton of moving back tonight. Like I don't know if that's something that I see. I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to move up. Like I think this draft is very top heavy with defensive talent and offensive talent. And you've got, a couple stud running backs, some stud wide receivers, but then you've got some crazy good defensive talent at the top with the quarterbacks. I think there are going to be more people trying to move up than anything, but
moving up is always something that we want to see. It's a very exciting thing to do, but if it's strategically beneficial for a team to trade back, and I'm really looking at teams in the top 10 that could have an opportunity to trade back, I think they'd bite on that because you're talking about teams that have a lot of holes to fill in the top 10 specifically, and if they have a bank of players and they're like, really, I'm fine with any of these guys and I can trade back 7 spots and I know I'm going to get one of them, then why not go for it?
You do realize that trading back means someone else is trading up.
Yeah. You're right. But the trading up part's the one that's exciting, but I do think
so if someone trades back,
awesome.
It's exciting because someone else is trading up.
Someone else trading up.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
It depends on your perspective, obviously.
Yeah.
We got some reports saying the Eagles are busy on the phones trading up. Okay, if the Eagles are trading up, I want to know
who's trading back.
I hope everyone's busy on the phones.
No,
if you're not, then you're not doing your homework.
Who would the Eagles be trading up for here? maybe
Jalen Carter or Will Anderson.
or maybe Paris Johnson.
Yeah.
Do they have
Eagles
glaring
have-
needs at
No.
offensive
I mean,
line?
they have a good offensive line, but I mean,
they can always they've
get a-
been
get a tackle
known
like that on a
they've been
rookie
known
deal.
to overload their offensive
Yes.
line.
The
so there's
Eagles
no
are so
holes.
stacked everywhere that they can afford some luxury
Wait,
picks of
They're
like
not drafting a running
we have
back.
69 viewers right now.
nice.
Extremely
Yes.
nice, guys. Thank you.
Hey,
Make
drop
sure you,
that like,
make sure you
guys.
drop the like for us. Any thoughts on Michael Wilson? There have been I didn't even have Michael Wilson on my radar.
Mike
So,
Wilson, Stanford. The only reason he was ever on my radar is because he had a decent year as a freshman. And really the only other draw for him this year, watching him, he was at the
Draw.
Senior Bowl, I believe. Is he's one of those guys in this year's class that actually has some decent size to him. All the other guys at the top are kind of not. They're missing that when you look at Addison or Zay Flowers or Josh Downs or even Marvin Mims. But I don't expect Michael Wilson to be anyone who ever comes in and has a big role in an NFL team.
yeah, I think great answer there. Cody Hutchinson. What's up, Cody? Hyatt is going to be one of those guys that's a better NFL player than he is a fantasy player. We've all said this. I think we all agree on this. I think
Good point.
I think this nails Hyatt to a T. He's going to help some team out stretching the field. He's going to help some other teams alpha receiver out, and also probably just not be a super dominant fantasy receiver.
That's what we're currently leaning towards right now.
Yeah.
But again, it could change.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. How do you rank the top 5 wide receivers in 2022, 2023, and 2024? I'll go back to that one.
Okay.
Well, we got to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. at the top.
Yeah, I honestly probably. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr.
I do Garrett Wilson 1 right now because he's actually played.
Well, it's 2 against 1. So
Yep.
Marvin Harrison
Okay.
Jr.
All right.
Then
and
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson,
Garrett
then JSN.
Yep.
We're going. Oh, this is 2022.
Yeah, including 2022.
Yeah.
Who was in the 2022 class?
The
that I'm
guys we're
forgetting?
naming right now. Garrett
Oh,
Wilson,
yeah. That was last year. Duh.
And then I'd say Olave London.
yeah, Olave. No, I mean, is there anybody next year?
Well,
that we're forgetting?
Igbuka.
Igbuka
Mika
is who I'm
Igbuka.
thinking.
He's pretty solid.
I'll take Olave London.
Yeah, I think I would too.
That's
So
crazy. Those top
last
four.
year's the top 4 of those guys were last year. That's crazy.
yeah.
All right, people love to bring up A-Rich's accuracy, but never talk about how he had 0 weapons. If A-Rich had a Wan'Dale Robinson, he would be the betting favorite that Levis is. Yeah, and honestly, I don't think the betting favorite for Levis mean anything. But you're right. Like, I mean, Anthony Richardson really only played 1 year as a starter. I mean, he's got to be given some time to develop, and with the athleticism, and if he goes to the right situation, I think that's absolutely something that could occur here. So, do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, you kind of wanted me to bring that one up. But.
Yeah, no, I mean, with Anthony Richardson's film, like, yeah, he absolutely had some awesome throws that ended up being drops. And yes, if you take away his throwaways and drops, then his completion percentage is way better. But again, I mean, if you look at his lowlights, they are still pretty dang low. And he had some horrible passes and horrible decision making there. And the funny thing is, you mentioned Wan'Dale Robinson. If he had a Wan'Dale Robinson, I mean, Will Levis had a Wan'Dale Robinson at one point before he had no receivers, and he was better his junior year than he was his senior year. So I think Anthony Richardson would have had better production this past season and maybe even boosted his draft stock a little bit. But I really think because of his combine performance, he kind of transcended, and the NFL is going to understand what he was dealing with there in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. Hot take: Roschon is better than Gibbs. Roast me. In what part of Roschon's game besides size does he have an advantage of Gibbs over? I think Roschon is a fine runner. Maybe they're equivalent in that category, but not any
If you
distance
mean,
better than to put him above Gibbs.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you mean greater from a bell cow running back perspective, I mean, yeah, he
Just
has
gets
the
just
size too,
size,
but
but
that
that's just
doesn't.
size.
From a
I mean,
fantasy
Gibbs-
and talent perspective,
for what you're looking for and for what NFL teams are looking for from a skill set from a running back right now, I mean, they're looking for somebody who can do what Jahmyr Gibbs does. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Roschon Johnson's not bringing any elite
He's
receiving
not-
upside to the table.
He's not better at anything. Not a single thing is he better at Gibbs than. Well, maybe I'll take that back. He's probably better in like goal and
Goal
go,
I was gonna say,
goal
yeah,
and go
short yard
situations.
situations.
Yep.
Power
Um,
back type stuff. I agree. with you.
And not saying that's all Roschon Johnson is. He's a fine running back.
He said roast him, so we're roasting him.
So yeah, you're getting roasted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you asked
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
All right, is there a wide receiver that the Chiefs could take at 32 that you might think of taking over JSN? No, there's not. JSN's going to get top 15 draft capital, and JSN is again, in a tier of his own. So no.
That's why we really like selling Chiefs wide receivers that get drafted.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that are asking that question. It's a good question.
Sky Moore.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, if you have 2 Ys in your name, you should probably be sold in Dynasty.
Double Y.
Atlanta ain't drafting a tight end highly. They signed Jonnu this offseason. Yeah, I don't think Atlanta is going to be one that probably does. I think they're going to run a lot of Kyle Pitts. Why would they draft it?
Yeah, that was just a joke. We were.
Did one of us say that?
I was just saying size-wise, imagine Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, and Darnell Washington all on the same team with their size. Like from a run game perspective, that would be stupid.
Houston can trade back into the first for Hendon Hooker. I do agree with that. There could be somebody that tries to trade back and get Hendon Hooker that is sitting in that top 10. At that rate, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather the Colts. I mean, I would be fine if they traded back and got Hendon Hooker. Like, honestly, if they end up with Witherspoon and Hendon Hooker or something like that, I'd be like, heck yeah.
I don't really see Houston investing in Hendon Hooker when they can get a QB in next year's class
Yeah,
with better
I agree.
upside. Like, why not just sign Carson Wentz for 1 year as a placeholder, win you 1 or 2 games, no more, and then suck, and then get a high pick and get one of the better QBs next year.
Packers trade back to 20 or so and take a tight end and get an extra second. They could do that. Honestly, their tight end need is just as bad as their wide receiver need, in my opinion, and they're not going to be contending. But I don't know how you pass
trade
up.
back.
I don't understand how you pass up JSN, so that would be tough for me to see. Rybread on the Roschon versus Gibbs debate says not a take he's seen, and that's for very good reason. That Roschon's barely a top 10 running back in this class, and yeah, that's absolutely true. So, all right, Eagles O-line's incredible. Yes, they are.
Jalen Carter.
Manifesting Lance and fourth getting traded to Bucks or Titans first. Interesting. I think Trey Lance, you saw it in the hot takes video, or maybe you didn't because nobody watched it, but I think Trey Lance gets moved tonight. Like, I think there's a very good chance he gets moved.
That would be a lot.
And I don't think they're like actively trying to like shop him aggressively. However, I think it's absolutely possible.
Look, I mean, if Anthony Richardson falls and a team is faced with the option of choosing between Anthony Richardson or Trey Lance, who's probably, I mean, at least he's been in the NFL for a couple years. Like, at that point, it definitely, from a talent perspective, is they both have pretty high upside. And I mean, you could see a team gunning for that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That franchise guy loves Michael Wilson, has him as like his 7th wide receiver. Honestly, I trust that guy more than any other dude on this.
Yeah, he is incredible
on this
Michael
website.
Wilson's interesting.
So if he says that, then that's going to be
interesting. But he also has Tank Dell as like a top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah.
When I watched the video,
you got to think too. We're talking about dynasty fantasy football, and he's talking about real life NFL football. So when he says he really likes a guy, I mean, he's talking about an impactful NFL receiver who's going to be a career at best, career wide receiver 3 even sometimes.
I mean, a great example of that is when he goes through his rankings of all the franchises. I remember last year he had Zach Pascal pretty highly ranked, and not because of his ability as a wide receiver, but because he said he's one of the best blocking wide receivers in the leagues, and so he knows how to value those things. We're just talking fantasy here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kendrick Bourne was a guy today when he was talking about some of the receivers that he really liked, some of my guys or his guys, and he was comparing one of the prospects to Kendrick Bourne and how good he was. And I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, I have zero interest as a fantasy or dynasty player in investing in this wide receiver if his draft stock goes up, because that does nothing for me at all.
Yeah, sure. All right, couple more comments here. Pats always move back because they are so smart. LOL. Yeah, the Patriots suck. Hyatt would be perfect for a guy like me who loves best ball, big boomer bust guy. He would be a better best ball player than he would typical dynasty player. Who's the prospect you like a lot but know everyone else has lower?
Marvin Mims.
Theirs is Marvin Mims. Yeah. So mine for fantasy is actually, this is boring, but it's Hendon Hooker. I think Hendon Hooker is a guy that if he gets the draft capital that he's projected to tonight, should be going in the top 7-8 picks of the first round of dynasty rookie drafts. And everybody was flaming us when we had him included in the first round. So I think most people in dynasty especially are down on him because his age says 25 years old, neglecting the fact that Joe Burrow actually came in as an older QB, neglecting the fact that quarterbacks are easily playing until, they're 33, 34 years old these days. So that, allows a team an 8-year window to build around a quarterback. So if Hendon Hooker does get that draft capital, if a team does believe in him, he does have, do not forget, although he's coming off an injury, he does have some rushing upside too. So with Hendon Hooker offering that as well, I don't understand why we're if he's within 10 to 15 picks of Will Levis and Anthony Richardson from a draft capital standpoint, I'm not sure where we're looking at Hendon Hooker and saying that he's just way behind here in terms of where he should be going in dynasty drafts. I definitely think if he's that close to them, he should be going in the first round, maybe even in the 6 to 8 range more than anything, especially if you see some of these wide receivers start to get more shallow at the end of the first round with QJ falling to the second, something like that to happen. So that's actually mine is Hendon Hooker. I think Hendon Hooker is somebody who could get high draft capital tonight, could end up going higher in dynasty startup drafts than anybody could have anticipated. So, yeah, good question. We like that one. I'll put a couple more up here. South African fans starting to come in more into the NFL. 2 a.m. at the moment. Holy smokes, dude. You are dedicated. That is awesome. Waiting for my first live draft. Stroud for the first pick. Dude, if it's Stroud, then I can tell Nathan that I called it, but I think it's going to be Bryce Young.
I called it, but you don't even think it anymore.
Well, that's my prediction, but I think I'm going to be wrong. Yeah.
If Anthony Richardson goes 1-on-1, I'll say I called it too, even though I don't think it's going to happen at all today.
Yeah, whatever. All right, Rybread with the top wide receivers this is from a while ago, but from 22, 23, and 24, he has Harrison, Wilson, Jason, Olave, and London. Then Egbuka at 6, 5 at the top are Ohio State. That is disgusting.
That is
Ohio
nasty.
State is wide receiver you. Like, I'm looking at next year's class, and obviously JSN's the wide receiver one in this class, but I'm looking at next year's class, and I'm seeing Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm like, even Egbuka, I'm like, oh man, and we've got another Ohio State wide receiver. It's funny. We helmet scout. I don't know. I guess we're not technically helmet scouting, but it is no coincidence that they're all from Ohio State. They have a very good program for receivers. Their wide receivers coach is very good. Their wide receivers coach has said of all those guys, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best one he's coached, which you should also take, as something because he would know. Ohio State is wide receiver you. Interesting. Eagles trade up for Carter or sit back and get Bijan. If the Eagles draft Bijan, their fans are going to crap because they're like, oh, not drafting. Howie doesn't draft running backs. He doesn't do it. Every single one of our videos where we're doing mocks from other people, I'm like, yeah, guys, we don't think they're taking a running back, but we're just going off what this mock draft is saying. Honestly, if they moved up or if they traded up and got Bijan, that would be crazy. That offense would be that offense would beat the Monstars.
Ridiculous.
So that would be crazy. Are they trading up for Carter?
That would be
if Carter fell.
That would debatably be even more ridiculous.
Eagles, but they've got Fletcher Cox. I mean,
the
two of them would be stupid.
I know, that would be so broken. They would debatably have a better defensive line than the freaking 49ers do. They would easily be NFC. I mean, they already are NFC favorites, but that would basically be checkmate.
Kyle Shanahan. All right, you got a bunch of you watching right now. Make sure you just slide down there and hit that like button. It's super easy. Just do it real quick for us. We really appreciate it. Gibbs is an absolute pass blocking liability, not a short yardage guy, not a 3-down back. Like I said, I feel everyone's disappointed with Swift, and that's big Gibbs' best comp. Yeah, I don't.
So I'm not sure. I understand the pass blocking situation.
For sure
Here's what I will say. One of the funniest things I saw in football last year during the regular season was Tony Romo saying during a Bills game how James Cook had real good potential to be a successful, effective asset for the Bills offensively. And then literally that play, he whiffed the block and Josh Allen, the whole play got broken up. And I was like, you cannot get any worse than this guy. I promise you, Jahmyr Gibbs is not going to be worse than James Cook was. And James Cook got significant snap share, but Jahmyr Gibbs is a better pass catcher. He's going to get fine opportunity. His snap share is not going to be near 100%. But again, if you're looking at guys like Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, those guys with those receiving skill sets, those are the guys we're looking towards when we really want to see Jahmyr Gibbs get that type of volume. So, it's something he can work on for sure. But again, if he's going to be a target in the passing game, they're probably not going to ask him to block. He's probably going to be in
he doesn't have to be a 3-down back either. Look at Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler was not a 3-down back.
Correct.
If he is efficient and he's talented enough to be that efficient, then if he's in a good situation, the other thing with Swift, he's in a situation where Dan Campbell just refuses to play him, then he would be fine. But we'll have to see. I do think the pass blocking liability is a thing, but they're not going to ask him to do that. That's not going to be his role. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to go to a team where he's going to be with another running back that's going to complement him well. Similar to Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, similar to, I hope, Zach Charbonnet and Tony Pollard, they would complement each other very well. But that's what's going to happen in the modern day NFL. You're going to most likely have two backs that complement each other. That's the common thing to do. Does Lance get traded tonight? What do you guys think? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes, just to be fun.
I don't think so, honestly. It'd be really, really fun if he was. I just don't see it happening. I don't know what team
my honest answer is no, but
I don't think there's a need for it to happen tonight. I don't think that means that I don't think he'll be traded during the season. I would lean no.
Okay.
I don't think there's a rush to. Like they can do it later in the
this.
season.
I like this question. Watch draft day today. What's your favorite part of the movie? Mine is where the Seattle Seahawks trade back from pick 1 to pick 6 and have to give up a player to do it. Mine is the fact that Kevin Costner does not fit that role. Like I love him in Yellowstone, but holy smokes, that movie is really. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, honestly, but people hate that movie. No, okay. Another thing on this, real quick. The Arizona Cardinals former GM was like on some show, and he said that draft day was extremely accurate or something like that. Like a former NFL general manager.
That's funny.
It is
Was it on
hilarious.
the franchise?
No wonder
Cardinals.
he's former. I don't know if it was on the franchise. Yeah,
They're
exactly.
also just
No
like
wonder he's former.
peak
He's-
NFL franchise.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, former. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. All right, keep it going here. Mid to late second, who do you like better, Israel Bonaconda or Marvin Mims?
Mims,
If that's in
yeah.
Dynasty, I'm taking the wide receiver all day. Yep, absolutely. And I hope Marvin Mims, honestly, if the Colts are going to draft a receiver, I want him. So
That would suck for fantasy, but I would love that as a fan.
I don't know if we're talking mid to late second of the NFL draft or the rookie draft. Either way, I'm going Mims.
Yeah.
Ran a 4.38, had incredible production, young, in the Big 12. He's a really good wide receiver.
Izzy's measurables though, man.
That's true.
He could go up.
we got Big Nick in here. What's up, Big Nick? Hey, new to Dynasty Fantasy, any advice for a rookie team owner going into a rookie draft? There is a video we have on our channel, Nick, and we said it was titled, I think, How to Win Every Rookie Draft. And we laid out some rules that you can follow in all of your rookie drafts that will help you not lose them. I mean, there are some. So, for example, we don't like to trade up in our rookie drafts because usually you end up giving too much. You don't hold any leverage when you're trying to trade up, things like that. So he's going to check the title of that video, but go back and watch that.
I'll drop the link in the description.
It will help you a ton. Those are the guidelines we follow for all of our rookie drafts to make sure that we're not losing out on value, to make sure we're taking the safest gambles, like later rounds, third, fourth rounds, which positions are we taking, etc. So if you go back and watch that video, that's going to help you out a lot. But good luck, man, and drop any questions you have in here specifically, and drop any questions you have in our live streams. We love answering you guys' questions. And honestly, our Discord's a good spot for you. It's $3 a month, but that's where we have a lot of new players in there right now, and they're just in there with every single trade offer they're going through. It's great to have second opinions on that stuff. It's absolutely great. All right, we've got.
Yep, I'm dropping this in the description.
Yep, here it is. Big Nick, this is for you. All right.
There you go.
All right, 1 QB, 12 teams start 9. He's got Hurts and Lance at QB. He's got James Conner, Jamal Williams, Tyler Algier at running back, CD Waddle, Higgins, Ridley, at wide receiver, and then Goddard at tight end. He has the 103. Should I pick up Gibbs, JSN, or pick QB?
It's a 1 QB league. I'm taking JSN.
I'm taking JSN there, and then I'm taking Gibbs, and then I'll take a QB. Yeah, that's got to be.
What if Gibbs goes like late first to a really good landing spot, and JSN doesn't get a super ideal landing spot? Do you still think it's JSN?
With
his running back room, I could see a good argument for him taking Gibbs, actually, if he goes in the first round, especially.
Right, because he definitely has more need there. I mean, CD, Waddle, Higgins, like, come on.
Yeah. All right. Cody says, at Big Nick, I would say draft for value, don't draft for need. You can trade for need later. Yeah, that's one of the rules we have in there. It's very, very well said. All right.
I went on a rant one time. I'm going to do it again just quickly. In the middle of the offseason, you don't have team need. I hate when people will trade for a tight end or a running back because they'll be like, oh, I need someone. It's like, it doesn't matter. You can have 0 running backs on your team in June, and you're completely fine. Team need does not exist until week 1 starts, until 1 o'clock on that. Well, I guess it would be a Thursday night game. Until that Thursday night when week 1 starts, you don't have team need. So I think that's a really good point. Draft for value and not for need.
Yeah, I mean, you could have gone into the 2021 season thinking you were chilling at the RB position with your top 2 running backs being J.K. Dobbins and Travis Etienne, and you were chilling all off season. Then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
You need a bunch of running backs.
All right, we've got to call your shot. Who is the 3rd running back off the board after Bijan and Gibbs, and what veteran running back gets nuked by the draft? I think we're all going to say Charbonnet for running back 3. Every single one of us. We've been high on Charbonnet. I've been high on Charbonnet for a year and a half now. I love him.
Yeah, he has.
He is my boy, so I hope he gets
He is your guy.
Early second round. Yeah, he's my guy. He's definitely my guy.
Yep.
Hope he gets early second round capital. But which veteran running back gets nuked by the draft? Oof.
This isn't a hot take, but Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I think that's possible too. I'm trying to think of the veteran running backs right now.
Joe Mixon.
It's weird because Joe Mixon's out, Dalvin Cook is out. So
since he gets Jahmyr Gibbs,
Derrick Henry.
That was my
I
other
could see
thought.
the Titans,
but I still think they're going to be
Titans.
committed to him next year because he's just still
He's so
still
good,
a
yeah.
game wrecker.
Yeah,
I think
but I think
they
that
draft a running back
really,
next
really
year.
hurts the lasting dynasty value that he does have. Like everyone knows he's going to be incredible for at least one more year, and like that's what we keep saying. It's like Derrick Henry for one more year. But if they draft a running back in the second or third, then I think that's going to be where it's like, all right, well, you're kind of on your Tom Brady arc for Derrick Henry.
T-minus 30 minutes until the best moment
man.
of Dynasty owners off season. So make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep going pretty close until what we start. We're going to have to take a debrief and like catch our breath and like meditate before the Colts make their pick. But we really appreciate all you guys joining us. And to finish off that question, it's hard for a veteran running back to get nuked by the draft because, number one, if you have veteran running backs that are out the door, you usually know before the draft. But the other thing is, if a veteran running back is not out the door, it means they're on a second contract, which are usually big deals, and usually teams are pretty committed to those guys as well. So it's hard for veteran running backs to get blindsided. Either they're invested in heavy in a veteran running back, or they're already out on them. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, guys like that. They're already out on them. But guys like Derrick Henry, they're clearly invested in him. Saquon Barkley is a guy who's going to be on a second deal. He could technically be a veteran. Christian McCaffrey's not going anywhere. So that's kind of how that one sorts out. What pets do you guys have? That's a fun question. I have an Australian Shepherd, and her name is Sky, and she's hilarious. And Nathan dog sit her while I was on vacation.
Yeah, and she woke me up like almost every single night. She's freaking cute though, dude. I have a dog. He barely is a dog.
Yeah, he's a cat.
Yeah.
No,
he's a dog.
He's definitely a cat.
His name's Stormy, and he's ridiculous.
And Simon lives at Purdue, so he doesn't have a pet.
No pets.
His pet are all the guys he lives with.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his hair.
More heat from Rybread. Y'all have heard this before. Brandon Ayuk gets traded, similar to
That's
AJ Brown
juicy.
and Hollywood from last year. He makes a good point because
I like it.
His point is that Brandon Ayuk is somebody that they've already shelled out a big wide receiver contract to somebody in Debo, and he is coming up on needing an extension, and so he could be somebody that gets traded away. I like that. I like that idea, and I think that's absolutely plausible.
I think Ayuk is kind of awkward in Shanahan's system. Personally, I think he would really thrive in a different offense. So if a team likes him as a wide receiver better than one of the guys they could draft in this year's class at the wide receiver position, then go for it.
So we've got some Kevin Costner defenders. I love Kevin Costner, so don't get me wrong, but it's funny. He's not the most adaptable actor of all time. So that I was actually having that conversation the other night with somebody, but who trades for D-Hop this draft? Because I really think he goes this draft. It's going to be the Ravens, in my opinion. Pac-Man Jones on Pat McAfee show, his source say that he's going to get traded to the Ravens. I think that's who it's going to be. I also think I think that contributed to Lamar signing back there.
How much do you think they'll have to give up for D-Hop? Like a 4?
Oh, I don't know. It'll be more than that.
3?
I mean,
I don't see
Hollywood went for
I don't see anything more than a 3.
Hollywood went for a first.
Because Hollywood is like 10 years younger than him. Not really. I'm totally exaggerating, but
6.
I think it's going to be a second round pick if it's a pick.
Really?
I think they're going to have to pay up. Yeah. I think people still are under the impression that
but Arizona doesn't want to pay him.
I think the draw for Hollywood is that he was still young and they could offer him a long-term contract. D-Hop's so late in his career that you're signing him to a 2-year contract. Von Miller with the Bills last year, where he's still an incredibly good NFL player, but they're not offering him a 5-year deal. Wait, how long was the deal they gave him? It was surprisingly long for Von.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, if you look at the Rams, remember the Rams paid a second for Von Miller, who's definitely in the twilight of his career, and that was a massive overpay. He's still really, really good at what he does and will be a Hall of Famer. But for D-Hop, I don't see anything more than a 3.
Gavin says Sharps is better than Gibbs, and honestly, like as much I don't agree, but I have to respect it, and I like it secretly because I like Charbonnet so much. And if he turned out to be the best running back in this class, I would feel like justified forever. All right, Dalvin's going to get traded for a day 3 pick. Remember this comment or this tweet I also posted on my Twitter. Rybread coming in with the absolute heat. He is throwing 99 mile per hour fastballs right now, right at our faces, and honestly, my face hurts. All right, who would you rather have, Dalvin or A-Chain in Miami? Dalvin. I want to see what Dalvin can do.
A-Chain.
Yeah, of course. What the heck? Why do we have a boiler up on here? And then Rybread says Purdue, more like Purdue.
Yes.
Oh, and then Simon, I'm not putting your comment. All right, Johnny Mac. Backing up Rybrad's Ayuk heat. T. Higgins gets traded tonight. Whoa! That would be nuts. I haven't thought about that. They've seemed pretty committed to him, like lip service wise.
There's a lot of lip service that goes on pre-draft, man.
Yeah, lots of lip service.
You're an idiot, Simon.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. We never would have thought that the Titans were trading AJ Brown, but I think the Bengals have proved how well that that T Higgins and Jamar Chase duo works, and I don't know why they'd want to split that up. If I was the Bengals, I'd be doing everything I possibly can to keep T Higgins paired with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. But you said just like AJ Brown last year, we never would have thought the Titans would have traded him, especially for just a single first. We know their GM got fired for that. That was incredibly dumb.
You got to expect Burrow to get paid pretty soon, right?
Ryan, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll
like
stop
if they traded Higgins, that means Burrow has to be getting the big deal like really, really soon.
He is a big deal, man. Kyle has a question for us. Who is the prospector team pairing that you want the most tonight? Colts not included. Jordan Addison, the Chargers is mine. Because, they're my second favorite team, and Jordan Addison would fit really well there. Who do you guys think?
Who do you think, Simon?
Simon, boy. Lip service.
Yeah, okay. Man, I think there's a lot of really interesting ones, but I think it would be really cool to see JSN go play with Justin Fields. I know they never
like
played together in college, but I think it'd just be really fun to see quarterback kind of coming into his own and one of the more exciting wide receiver prospects we've seen. I know Nathan hates Justin Fields, but all of you can hate on him for that.
Everybody trash Nathan in the comments.
I think that'd be really cool to see, and kind of follow along the same vein. Shut up, Nathan.
Fantasy.
Shut up. Shut up.
Good gosh.
Kind of along the same pair of
service.
college QB with the college wide receiver. Give them some rapport, see what they can do.
Well,
all right, here we go.
We're
We're
going to say JSN to the Packers, but
yeah, well,
whatever.
you lost your talking privileges. So
yeah.
I'm in an 8-man Superflex league. Is
Good
QB
question.
still the value play if I have Hurts and Burrow, and it's easier to get producing QBs?
In an 8-man, no.
In an 8-man, I don't think so. No, I think I'm taking the skill positions there. Wouldn't you say so, Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question, Jimbo 6.
Yes. Thoughts on scoring changes in Dynasty leagues? How much time should you give up to scoring changes or lineup changes? Okay to implement in the offseason for giving a full year to prep. So I think
Depends on how drastic it is. If you're
I
going
think
from non-tight
small
end
stuff
premium
you
to
could
tight
do in
end
the
premium,
offseason. Yeah.
if you're going from non-tight end premium to tight end
That's a
premium,
big
then that's a
shift.
big change.
You
If
need
you're
to be there.
if you're doing like receiving bonuses for 20 plus yards, 30 plus yards, 40 plus yards, maybe you can implement those now. That might give a little uptick to the boomer bust guys like Gabe Davis, Jalen Waddle, whose yards per catch is significantly higher than a guy like Christian Kirk. But again, I don't think that's going to be enough for it to be insane. So I think that'd be a reasonable thing to start now.
Do you guys have a Patreon or just a Discord? So we actually have a locals page. So locals is the same as Patreon, and then it gives you access to our Discord. Everything, all of our articles, rankings, ADP data, everything is posted on Discord. So our Discord basically acts as our. I didn't want to say acts because I kept thinking I was saying it wrong, but it acts as our Patreon. It has all of our content on it. So go check it out. Links in the description. We appreciate you guys doing that as well. $3 a month. And you get to support our pretty faces. Someone has to screen grab Nathan's face as soon as Simon said Fields. Yeah,
Speaking
it
of
was not
pretty
pretty. I was
faces.
trying to get him to knock, but I was like, oh.
I couldn't help it. It was I noticed. I realized I was making an ugly face, but
Yeah, we
Our
got a
producer
screenshot.
got it.
Our producer
We
grabbed
got
a
one.
screenshot for us.
Our Wi-Fi is getting real bad. It cut out there for a second.
nice.
All right, hopefully it's coming back. Kep says the Discord be kind of lit. Yeah, we have fun on our Discord, and again, especially if you're newer to Dynasty, you should definitely be on there. It's a great resource for people like that. And we have a lot of fun. We're on there all the time. Favorite sports comedy movie? No repeats. Kicking and Screaming is mine. What is my favorite sports comedy? I don't know. Sandlot maybe. Sandlot comedy.
Sandlot's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'd go with that one. What do you think? Have you watched sports comedy?
Let me think. I really like Titanic.
You're an idiot,
You post
dude.
the fantasy domain link in there in the chat for me.
Would you call Rocky a comedy?
No. Will you guys have
Rocky.
Will you guys have
That's
a
my answer
redraft
then.
guide this summer? Redraft draft guide this summer. That's all going to be found on Fantasy Domain, which is our new second sister channel, and he's going to post a link for that in the description. So go subscribe to that channel as well. We're going to do Dynasty content on this one. We're going to do fantasy content on that one. That's where we're going to do all of our redraft drafting guides, rankings, things like that, and we're going to come out with all kinds of content for redraft as well. So make sure you go over there and subscribe to Fantasy Domain as well.
Yes, sir.
Just text it to me, Sam. We have the picture of Nathan when Simon said Justin Fields.
Oh my gosh.
Dang, our Wi-Fi's crapping out right now.
We got 20 minutes
Good.
until the
Longest
draft
yards
now.
go
It's
to- yeah, we'll probably go
getting
about 5 more minutes in the live stream. All right, drop your final questions, final draft thoughts before we take a potty break and get some fluids in, and then cry about what the Colts are going to do, and then we're going to start releasing videos. So again, we're going to have videos coming out all night. As soon as 10, 15 minutes after the pick is made, we're literally recording the videos and putting them up on YouTube right away. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for that. And make sure you're watching all those videos. They're going to be short. They're going to have rankings in them where we're going to rank these new guys as they come into Dynasty. They're going to have team breakdowns for the new teams. It's all going to be, again, 5 to 10 minutes, and it's going to be snapshot, but it's going to be instant reaction. We're trying to give you the most accurate and the quickest content that we can, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. There is the link for Fantasy Domain. All of our redraft draft guides are going to be there, so make sure you go every single one of you go subscribe to Fantasy Domain right now. We're trying to get that to 1,000. So that really helps us out a lot right now. Do you think there's any landing spot that you would draft Addison before JSN?
No.
Nope.
Colts are taking Bijan at 4. Oh my gosh, Kebs, and shipping off JT, calling it now. If that happens, I will kick. I really burn down the studio.
Really like Bijan Robinson. If that happens, I would quit football.
That would be insanely ridiculous. All right, I got to get this picture up of Nathan's face.
Oh my gosh.
Why?
It's not even that funny.
Dude, I've got to show this to you guys. I got to know how to do it. I'm going to screen drop this. All right.
You can share your screen and just put it in front of
All right. Look out for prospect landing spot articles and locals in the coming days too. He's going to be putting out that work. So Rybread is also on our Discord. Turn it down. That's a great feature. He's got the bakery, which is his wide receiver model. It's crazy cool. All of his content is on our Discord as well. It's a great value, honestly. We love it. Everybody hit that like. Yeah, Cody, we appreciate your kind words, man, and we really enjoy doing this. So yeah, make sure you do that as well. I'm going to airdrop this video of Nathan to my phone because we are getting this on the live stream before we get off of here. You have to see Nathan's reaction when the close-up of his face, because it's really, really funny. And I'm going to get it up here right now.
Oh my gosh.
All right. What else? Final thoughts as we kind of start to wrap up here tonight from both of you. So while I do this, I can't be the one that talks the whole time.
Go. Enjoy the draft, guys. I mean, this is
turn off Twitter.
You only get this once a year. Yeah. And that was one of the best pieces of advice we heard from an analyst earlier on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. Turn off Twitter when you're watching it. Get the full excitement, get the full experience, get the full, surprise of the pick for each one. Don't glance at Twitter the entire time trying to get the pick 30 seconds before it happens and then it not actually working out, or you just knowing before everyone else does. You'll find out. Make it a surprise. Have fun.
All right, real quick, you have it up. All right, we're in front of the camera. We're gonna hold the live video reaction of Nathan's face when Simon says Justin Fields. This is really, really pretty, and this is really, really old fashioned, but I can't get it to pull up. All right, hold it up there.
Oh, good.
Ready?
Good.
Oh my gosh,
funny.
dude. You could not have been more you could not have exaggerated it more. Did you put that in slow motion?
If that's the reason we blow up,
that's not even in slow motion.
That's so worth it, dude. That would be
that is so funny.
That is awesome. We lost so many viewers right there. That is amazing.
It's all going down.
All right. Here's to hoping the Colts get CJ Stroud. An hour and 15 minutes for us to talk about stuff before we lose our minds. But we really, 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 someone make that a GIF. We absolutely are doing that.
Yeah.
Sam, you have to do that.
The quest to make DD viral because of that.
No.
Dude, if that's what gets us viral, then I don't know what to say anymore. It's been funny. We've got a TV straight on, behind our camera. The camera's literally.
We have 3 screens in front of us right now.
And so
4, 5,
I know
6.
it's real fancy. We've got a bunch of screens, but I've seen Ian Rappaport. I've been staring into his eyes while I was talking to the camera, so it's been kind of fun. All right,
it's adorable.
Draft night is here again. Soak it up. Enjoy it. We're going to be posting videos all night as soon as we can. So make sure you are watching those in between picks and make sure you're liking all those. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you're doing that as well. Obviously, enjoy the draft, like we've said, and it's going to be very unpredictable. It should be one of the more fun drafts in recent memory. We've got some heavy QBs at the top. We got good skill positions, etc. So what did I do? What did I say? Just tell me. Just tell me. What did I do?
I'm still laughing about.
Oh, all right.
Thing. Yeah.
All right. Again, we'll be back on here tonight. We really appreciate all you guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Enjoy the draft. We'll see you here in a few minutes when we post our first video, which is probably going to be Bryce Young to the Panthers. We'll see you later, guys.